Good morning, 10th November 21. Fiscal dumping, disruption 113. We see day after day in the news this fight between Bilbao and Madrid, communities, provinces, regarding tax dumping. And it's very funny how these that talk about it really get paid. And why cannot we fire and erase 4 million public workers in Spain? It's really a question that judges will have to clarify. The Speedo Libre, it's free firing because the system they have is so stone age that they require 50,000 public buildings worth 300 billion euros. Yes, you heard well, 300 billion euros. For example, in this building, this is a private building, Albia 1 and 2, in the center of Bilbao. The water consortium and the trains and all these public entities enter and they control around 25 or 35% of both buildings. Now, question is, why don't they share public buildings if they have 50,000 buildings? Because in this building at least, they are reforming. We proposed about 4 years ago 40% reduction of the building administrator. They told us that this was not approved. They are not really interested, and so now next year they are going to grow 20 euro per month the price of water consortium. Yes, because 500 workers, they have 50,000 euros wages and they work about 5 hours per day. Now, of course, this is not sustainable and therefore everybody is becoming poor in Spain. Now, it's not fiscal dumping. It's a question of this disruption 113. We have to disrupt 50,000 buildings worth 300 billion because, for example, in the Basque Country, there is no more Basques. No one can afford have a kid because the Basque government has 5 layers, for example, in the employment, in the training, in the unemployment, in the grant. There is 5 layers of unproductive Stone Age institutions. So the best way is to get rid of all of them. Disrupt is far 95% of tax. It is the only way that we could really have very good dumping. Now, either we do it ourselves or some other countries will do it. We have examples of other countries that already have very good brackets for income tax. For example, Singapore, for example, New Zealand. Thank you very much indeed. This is a very corporate social responsible way of imposing income tax because those that really want to work 115 hours like me, why should we pay the same tax as those that pay that work 20 hours per week if they have chosen to? Why? There should be some hours, let's say, above 40 hours per week. I don't have to pay tax. Why? Because then I'm free to choose. Then if I pay more tax, the more income I have, this is not just system. Now, the question is that then we compare our income tax with the Inquisition, the public tax side, the dark side of business. So then this dark side also is trying to work less and less and own more buildings. And what is going on now is that a lot of countries are going to start using this competitive advantage. It's not dumping, no. It is really a competitive advantage to have 95% less tax and simplify all the employment, the labor regulations, the tax. They're so complicated to present VAT, for example. Why? Because we need to give these buildings, 50,000 buildings, an excuse to do something today. And then, if not, today, they will talk in the news about dumping. You see? Why don't you fire yourself? I mean, we don't need to pay your wage. It's the same as those that print. And this, say, there's governments that print money. I mean, they generate inflation. Don't print money. Why should you print money? It's very simple. You are printing money because when you print it, the first ones you're going to pay these big piles of money is the public workers. So just get rid of them. We don't need them today. Today is a digital economy. We are competing and then there is also another very important factor. All these companies that talk, most of them are either governments or big companies. But the question is that small and medium companies provide 90% of employment, and they are the David against Goliath. So we have a big Goliath companies, but no one is defending the David. How can you defend the David? Eliminate 95% of tax, eliminate 95% of bureaucracy. If not, you, mom and dad, are not going to generate Z's employment ever. The reason why there is no more Z's, no more Basque people, no more Spanish people, is the taxes. It's you, mom and dad, working in the government. So please, share these public buildings. We don't need 50,000 buildings. We just need one. Miscellaneous costs, and get out of these private buildings very fast, like here in this one with the water consortium. There is no excuse to invade private buildings if there is 50,000 public buildings. I mean, also the same thing with the cars. There is 50,000 public cars in Spain. I mean, in the USA, it is 500. Then judges, please get your act together, because is it the right humans have to have a 5% tax throughout the world? And governments share the cost? Or the judges' kids will never ever have a job, will be poor forever, and we will never be able to have our grandkids to have more kids because they cannot afford it. Let's not talk about immigrants yet, because it's a question of us solving our own problem now. Fiscal dumping, disruption 113. I hope you like this one, and I hope I never hear anything but how much intrinsic value, like I generated 28 trillion in Spain, they are generating for the future generations. And if there is some speakers, please write them off. Despido libre. Thank you. Bye.